Alright, so today we're going to talk about some rules. Yes, there are some shortcuts. I know the past couple days we've done the limit definition of the derivative. It is the long way. Some of them take forever. And yes, there really are some shortcuts. So here we go. First up, looking at this table, we have functions and derivatives. These are various ones that we've done over the past few classes. F of x equals 3x plus 2, so f prime equals 3. F of x equals 1 minus x squared. F prime of x equals negative 2x, and so on. Take a look at the table and see if you notice any patterns. Yes, I'm giving you time to think. Look at it. I'm not just going to tell you. Okay, now I'll just tell you. So when we had 3x here, the derivative was actually just 3. But when it was negative x squared, that became negative 2x. X squared plus 2x became 2x plus 2. There's a power rule with derivatives. When you are doing the power rule, when you have x to the n power, what you do is you bring down the power in front. So it'll be n times, and then you x. And what happened each time? That n goes down by 1, so you do n minus 1. That is power rule. So something like 3x, this is to the first power, so 3 times 1 is 3. X to the 1 minus 1, so x to the 0, which is just 1, which is why the derivative is just 0, or just 3. Sorry. With 1 minus x squared, well, 1 is a constant, the derivative is 0. And then negative x squared, we have a negative. You bring the 2 down in front, so 2x, 2 minus 1 is x to the first. Okay, that's the power rule. So, that's what you need to know. Makes these very simple. So f of x equals x cubed. The derivative, f prime of x, bring down the 3, becomes x. 3 minus 1 is 2. The next one, f prime of x, x squared, so you bring down the 2, you have x to the first. And then the derivative of 2 is just 0, so it's just 2x. With cube root of x, cube root is x to the what power? Do you remember? Remember? 1/3, x to the 1/3 power. So when we do the derivative, we bring down the 1/3 x. Now 1/3 minus 1, okay, 1/3 minus 1 is minus 3 over 3, so that'll be to the negative 2/3. Okay, 1/3 x to the negative 2/3. And if you want to rewrite that, it would be 1 over 3 cube root of x squared. That's how you write that. F of x equals 1 over x squared, so that's x to the negative 2. So f prime of x would be negative 2 x to the negative 3, right? Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So again, you can rewrite that. Negative 1 over, oops, sorry, totally made a mistake. Let's erase that. Oops, just erased everything. Alright, so that would be negative 2 over x cubed. And over here we had, let's see, 3 cube root of x squared. Sorry about that. Alright, so negative 2 over x squared, right? Only the x has the negative power. Alright, 5x to the 4th, the derivative, 4 times 5 is 20, x, 4 minus 1 is 3. The next one, 2 over x, I'm going to write that 2x to the negative 1. So when we do the derivative, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2x, negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So it'll be negative 2 over x squared. Think you're getting the hang of it? Hope so. Alright, so this one, you can look at it as 4/5 x squared. Alright, bring down the 2. 2 times 4/5 is 8/5, and then it'll be x, 2 minus 1 is just x to the first. Alright, so that's f prime equals. Alright, 2 root x, so that would be 2x to the 1/2. So f prime, 1/2 times 2 is 1, x, and then 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. So it'll be 1 over the square root of x. And it's fine, just leave it like that. Alright, negative 3/2 x. The derivative is negative 3/2. This one, what I would do here is write it as 5/2 x to the negative 3. All right, so when you do the derivative, that is negative 15/2 x to the negative 4, which would be negative 15 over 2x to the 4th power. Okay. This next one, I would simplify that first. That is 5. 2 cubed is 8x cubed. All right, so then treat that just like this one. It'll be 5/8 x to the negative 3. So f prime negative 15/8 x to the negative 4. So negative 15 over 8x to the 4th. Okay. This next one, f of x equals 7 over 3x to the negative 2. Now x to the negative 2, that's a negative power in the denominator, so that comes up. So it'll be 7x squared over 3. So that derivative is 2 times 7 is 14 thirds x. Okay. Now the next one, this is one, sum and difference rules. Basically, do the derivative, add it to the derivative, add it to the derivative, minus the derivative. Okay, so you just do each one separately. So f prime, x cubed is 3x squared. 4x squared, the derivative is 8x. 2x, the derivative is 2. And 5, the derivative is 0. So 3x squared plus 8x plus 2. Okay, the next one, g of x, so you do just the derivative here, the derivative here, derivative here. So you have negative 4x cubed over 2, so that'll be negative 2x cubed, plus 3 times 3 is 9x squared, minus 2. Okay, so real simple, you just, in a polynomial like that, you just do each derivative separately. Okay, now the next thing are your derivatives of sines and cosines. Now, if you remember in class the other day, we did the derivative graphs, right? And there was one, I don't know what it is. Let's just do this. I'll just start it over. So here is a sine curve. Let's see if we can figure out what the derivative is. So in doing this derivative, we know that the derivative here is 0. Here is 0, 0, 0. Right here, this is positive, and then down to 0, and then negative, so positive down to 0, negative until we get to there, and then it's positive. And on this side, this is positive through here. Let me start over here. This is positive. This is negative down to there, and then that's all positive there. So this was our sine curve, and what is the derivative? That's our cosine curve. Okay, that's our cosine curve. So the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. Now let's look at the cosine of x curve. Here's cosine of x. Now the derivative, you start 0 there, 0 there. This is negative to there, and then positive to there, but then back down to 0. And then here, that's 0. So here, that's close to 0. And then that's negative. And then there is all positive, like that. Now that is not sine. Don't think derivative of sine is cosine, derivative of cosine is sine. It's not sine, but what is that? You know? Negative sine. Okay, so the derivative of sine is cosine, the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So when you have 2 times sine of x, the derivative, 2 is just a constant, so that just stays 2 cosine of x. Okay, and y equals sine of x over 2. Remember, that's just 1/2 sine of x, so the derivative is 1/2 cosine of x. Okay, and then I think there's another problem. Okay, so here, this is the sum and difference rule. Okay, you do the derivative of x, which is 1, plus the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine of x. Or you can write that 1 minus sine of x, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there you go. There are some rules, some trick stuff. Practice. This is in your packet. So why don't you go ahead and try these? I will pause the video, try them, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write the answers in, and then you can check them after you've paused the video and done them. All right, make sure you're getting them right. Have fun. There's those. And the next 4. On one like this, I would distribute first, so that's x cubed plus x. So y prime equals 3x squared plus 1. Rewrite this. Okay, so it'd be 1 over 2 root x minus 2 over cube root of x squared. Here's 6x to the 1/2, so that'll be 3x to the negative 1/2, derivative cosine of sine, so minus 5 sine of x. Or this. And finally, y prime derivative cosine is negative sine of x. Now the sine of pi is 0, and the derivative of 0 is 0. So that is it there. Alright, so now that you've practiced, you've gotten the shortcuts, you can go ahead and do your homework. It is class 3, all out of your book.